Hello and welcome to Untwisted Threads. This is a brand new yarn from Drops called Fiesta. The 75% superwash wool, 25% polyamide yarn features 22 colors made up of 9 prints and 13 solids. The colorway that we chose is 15 Purple Rain. This 50-gram skein with 110 meters or 120 yards works up as a DK weight yarn. The suggested gauge on a US 6 or 4 millimeter needles is 21 stitches and 28 rows per 4 inches or 10 centimeters. For our swatch, I will be using a 5 millimeter needle size. In today's video, we're going to review and score Drops Fiesta using our 5 categories, which are availability, softness, traction, durability, and cost, to help you decide if this is the best yarn for you and your next project. Stay tuned until the end for a few pattern recommendations as well. Would you like to see how all of our yarns compare to one another or enter to win our monthly giveaway? Join our free newsletter linked in the description box below. Let's get started. For availability, we give Fiesta a score of 2 out of 5. For being brand new, this yarn does have a few purchasing options, but not as many as we expect that it will. So I honestly would take this rating with a grain of salt, as I imagine more shops will be carrying this yarn in the future. And if you are in Europe, we would love to know if this yarn is already being sold in your local craft shop. Even Wool Warehouse didn't have this yarn available for purchase yet, but of course it is now in stock. For softness, we give it a score of 4.1 out of 5. This is, as the label suggests, a DK weight sock yarn, a 75-25 blend of superwash wool, we're not sure what kind, and polyamide or nylon. My first reaction was that it didn't really stand out to me. It looked like a thicker version of Fable and kind of felt like that, or maybe even Charisma. It had a little bit of bounce, but also a little bit of dryness. But it wasn't dry enough that it kept getting irritating over time. Maybe at the very end of our swatch is when I noticed it a slight bit. Now, superwash treated wools are often softer because of that treatment, but we didn't necessarily notice much of that softness when working with it. However, after our swatch dried from being blocked, it honestly felt like a new yarn. I was so pleased with its combination of a slight rustic appearance and its softness. To compare, it was softer than Drop Soft Tweed and not quite as soft as Santa's Garn Double Sunday. I'd say it's pretty comparable to Valley Yarns Northampton, one of our favorite Peruvian Highland wools, or even Kelborn Wool and Scout, one of our recent reviews. For a micron count or softness scale rating, we'd estimate it to be around a 23, so not quite your typical merino softness wise, but still far softer than the average Peruvian Highland wool. Now, Drops didn't say specifically what type of wool this is, but we're almost certain it is a Peruvian Highland wool. So we can't give a proper explanation for the wool in this yarn, but in general, wool is breathable and can help regulate the body's temperature when being worn. For traction, we give it a score of 4 out of 5. Nothing really stood out to me about this yarn traction-wise. It had a good grip, but also a good glide. It wasn't perfect, but still a fairly good score for ease while working with it. I don't think you'll need a wooden or bamboo needle for this one, as I think it would create too much friction or drag as you're working with it. For durability, we give it a score of 4.5 out of 5. If we are correct, the qualities of this yarn and Peruvian Highland wool allow it to have more strength and make it hardier than, for example, a soft merino yarn. Because it is superwash treated with an added amount of nylon, you won't need to hand wash your garments made with this yarn. What that nylon does is gives even more strength to the wool. In scenarios like making a pair of socks, the heel is less likely to rub or cause holes from wear and tear. and when it came to the stress test, fabric to fabric, we didn't notice any pilling. But feeling the swatch with my hands, a small amount of pill balls formed, but it was more fiber collection that occurred. So that's just something to keep an eye out for when caring for your garments using this yarn. For cost, we give it a score of 4.4 out of 5. For being a 50-gram skein, you can expect to pay $2.99 US per skein. That breaks down to about 2 cents per yard, meaning a size medium sweater would cost approximately $33, or a pair of socks would cost only $6 with 2 skeins. Overall, we give Drops Fiesta a score of 3.9 out of 5. The availability of this yarn definitely brought its score down. If we disregard that rating, that would mean that this is a 4.3 rated yarn. I love that it's kind of a rustic wool that blew me away with blocking, but definitely not overly soft by any means. I can't wait to see what new colorways will be added over time, and I can definitely see myself working with this yarn to make some cozy DK weight socks. So we had a little look on Ravelry and wanted to share a few pattern recommendations with you, hopefully to inspire you if you're wanting to use this yarn for a project of your own. The first pattern is Marsha's Pride Henley by One Wild Designs. It comes in 11 sizes with finished bust measurements ranging from 38.5 to 78.5 inches and recommends 8 inches of positive ease. It suggests using a US 6 or 4 millimeter needles and a DK weight yarn to meet gauge. It is worked seamlessly from the bottom up in the round. With its modified drop shoulder construction, you will work the front and back flat. The shoulders are joined with a 3 needle bind off before the sleeves are picked up and knit from the shoulder to the wrist. She's also included optional instructions for adding short rows for bust shaping and 4 sizes to give you your best fit. The next pattern is Lola Chic by Lupton. It comes in 10 sizes with finished bust measurements ranging from 34 to 70 inches and recommends 2 to 4 inches of positive ease. It suggests using a US 5 or 3 3/4 millimeter needle size and a DK weight yarn to meet gauge. It is knit from the bottom up in the round. The front and back yokes are knit separately, flat, and include shoulder shaping and a crew neckline. The yoke halves are seamed at the shoulders. Sleeves are picked up and worked in the round outward from the body. It features a drop shoulder shape with a tapered in fitted waistline. And we couldn't not include a sock pattern, so the last pattern is Amber by Rain Knitwear Designs. It comes in 3 sizes with finished measurements of 8 to 10 inches in foot circumference and recommends 0 to 1 inch of positive ease. It suggests using a US 4 or 3.5 millimeter needle size to meet gauge. They are worked from the top down and feature a rib texture, eyelets, and heel flap. Are you excited to try out the new Drops Fiesta yarn? What yarn would you like for us to do a review on next? We would love to hear your thoughts and recommendations in the comments below. And if you enjoyed today's review, please give this video a like and subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you next time.